Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to be giving updates about Warwick PIMO. This case in Mozambique has been getting juicier by the minute, and I am loving every second of it. Before we get into that story, I am going to give you guys an update. Going to talk a little bit about the Shun No More 2024 protest. This was the second annual protest for us in the exjw community. We should be so proud of ourselves, everybody who has been involved in organizing it, and for everybody who was present that day. Although there were less people than the first protest, I think that this movement is going to be forever until we see change in the United States. I will be getting more involved as the years come. And it is just beautiful to see how this has started with just normal ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. We are not a big group of people yet that have been able to show out. But I think that the more of us that advocate for human rights issues among the Jehovah's Witnesses, we can make great change. This is the reason why I am so opinionated nowadays. I'm not politically neutral anymore because we need to start getting involved. And protesting is one of the best ways that we can display our grievances. And maybe one day we can catch the ear of a representative and talk about revoking the tax exemption of Jehovah's Witnesses for violating human rights. And I think that is where we need to really target the Jehovah's Witnesses, is by the law, it's legally. Once we get there, I think we will be able to see the change that we have so dreamed of. Another update that I would like to give you guys is that I have been involved in an email chain of the exact same thing that we advocate for: change. If anybody remembers or knows a little bit about what has been happening in Spain with the Jehovah's Witnesses, how they have been lobbying against the Jehovah's Witnesses, and they have been using, the laws that are already in place to, hold Jehovah's Witnesses accountable. And they have had some wins. And so I do know a little bit about that. If you do want to read up more about that, you can go to avoidjw.com because I know that they have the article there about Spain. But they got the big win, finally categorizing the Jehovah's Witnesses as a sect and not a religion. And so that's the great step. And even though right now I cannot get heavily involved with this, I do want to raise awareness towards this idea that we can grow in numbers, that we can protest, that we can advocate for real change within our government and our representatives locally and federally. Maybe one day we would get there. It's not going to happen overnight, and it's going to take a lot of work from us. So this is just a starting point. This is how big movements grow. I hope that what's happening in Spain and the direction that other countries are taking, just like they did in Norway, we can implement those same tactics and use it in the United States. And so I want to read my thoughts to you that I wrote on Twitter. And this is what I wrote on Twitter. I said, I'm so proud of the XJW community for growing strong enough to finally speak out against the human rights violations that the Jehovah's Witnesses have been doing to us. For decades, ex-Jehovah's Witnesses have been slandered with gossip and lies about our reasons for dissent. For decades, they have silenced us because they could. But now, in the age of the internet, we will no longer be the silent majority. Every single XJW who has been actively speaking against the Jehovah's Witnesses are to be thanked for paving the way for us. Thank you for not letting fear stop you from speaking out. Because of the XJW veterans online, my generation of XJWs were able to have a community to lean on. If it wasn't for the community online, I would not be here today. I would have gone back to the cult, or I would have ended it all. There was no option in between for those who wanted to escape. But the community showed me that there was another way. I realized that I could make a family of complete strangers who never met me before. I had to replace my whole world with strangers to survive the outside world. And that's scary in itself, but I had no other choice that didn't involve harm. So I did it, and I escaped the cult relatively unscathed. I have emotional and mental wounds, but at least I'm alive. I get to make it better. But many of our brothers and sisters didn't make it. They ended their lives due to the shunning policy of Jehovah's Witnesses. That's why we will never stay quiet about the abuse of Watchtower. I pray for the soul of my JW friend, Karen Cyrus, who took her life over depression. I pray for the troubled soul of my cousin, who has attempted to take her life over this cult. I pray for my soul that struggles with the thoughts. If I didn't have kids, I probably would not be here. I believe wholeheartedly that God gave me these blessings in disguise to save me from myself. They are the only other reason I kept going. I couldn't leave behind my 3 kids to potentially be dragged into this cult if I ended it all. Because I know that's exactly what would happen if my family had my kids. That fact kept me alive. And by the grace of God, who I didn't know at the time, has protected me without me even knowing. And I believe that. Because once I took the time to know Christ, I broke down every single time in tears, realizing that He carried me through those dark years. Once I identified Him in my life and accepted Him in my life, I finally had inner peace. No more depression, no more anxiety. I stopped the mental torture I was putting myself through by letting my family spew lies about my salvation. I am saved through Christ. I don't need a building or people to validate or affirm that to me anymore. I don't look to man for my salvation. I look to Christ. And Watchtower hates the fact that I don't need them anymore. They don't have power or control over me anymore. I am free. I am new. I am reborn. I believe in Him. I have faith in Him. And no one can take that away ever again. I pray that more of us in the XW community can have the same freedom in Christ. Those were the words that I was inspired to write from watching the protest in Washington, D.C. on September 13th, 2024. That same inspiration and motivation touches all of us in the XW community when we see more videos come out on YouTube, when we see more people talking about their experiences, their exit stories, and how they've moved on, even with faith or politics. It doesn't matter what it is. As long as we keep moving forward, that's what's important. And that's what I love to see in our community is the growth. So now I'm going to jump into the updates about Warwick PIMO. So the first update about Warwick PIMO is on Reddit about 20 days ago with the title that says, Update from Mauricio Fernando, aka XJW Redditor, Warwick PIMO, trial dates for September 12th, 2024. And so he goes on to describe that in his last update, he was a bit brief, and he sent that message at the moment when he was very joyful. He says, I had some reasons to be happy because the organization, through the lawyers it hired to defend the 3 elders who had already defendants in the case, tried many maneuvers to weaken the process as well as myself, as I was spending resources and time. But fortunately, after so many maneuvers, we moved to another phase after a heated preliminary hearings. He writes, This wasn't my main fear, but what worried us was that while we were still waiting for the judge's decision, a reliable source, PIMO, called me concerned because after the preliminary hearings, the elders had started celebrating with some of their supporters who are close to them. He told me that their lawyers assured them that the case would not proceed to the trial phase. We don't know what convinced them, but we were puzzled by their happiness. One thing I can assure you is that they were at the courthouse every day, without exaggeration. The organization's lawyers assessed the case daily. They were really happy because on the day of the preliminary hearing debate, for the first time, they came in cheerful and left very happy, even trying to offer us mineral water, but we didn't trust their water. When the decision was favorable to us, we were very happy. Had it been a contrary decision, we would have been waiting for words like, quote, we prayed a lot and Jehovah answered at the right moment, end quote. No one will succeed in fighting against Jehovah's organization. Jehovah's Spirit helped us greatly. I believe that even at the assemblies, they would share their experiences and maybe a member of the governing body would schedule a special meeting to talk about the apostates in Mozambique. And the same PIMO informed me that if the case falls through, there is a possibility they might start legal action against me as a way to silence me and also clean up their public image, as I would become the villain of the story. The circuit overseer who was mentioned in the report, where I spoke to the press, was transferred to northern Mozambique to a somewhat more isolated circuit. I don't know the reason, but he was moved far from where there is confusion after he spoke in the report over the phone. Today, I was notified of the trial date, Mark this date well, September 12th, 2024 at 9 a.m. in Mozambique time, in the first section of the Judicial Court of the District of Masigna. On this day, the elders, 2 from Bethel and 1 substitute circuit overseer, would be in the dock. I take this opportunity to thank you for the encouraging comments that gave me strength. I read all of them, and I'm immensely grateful for the support you give me. So that first update right there, I am thinking, you see how Jehovah's Witnesses always think that nothing's ever going to happen and the case is going to fall through. Jehovah has our back and the Holy Spirit. And yeah, you know what? Maybe they actually really do believe the indoctrination. Maybe they do, because sometimes I always think like, no, maybe they are, fully awake, manipulating people and gaslighting people. But I don't know what it is. I think that these elders or whoever is in their ear is giving them way too much confidence because the judge is in favor of Mauricio's case. And so that trial date has already passed. So I'm going to go to the next update that was posted on Reddit. And this was posted 4 days ago. The title to this update is Latest Update from Mauricio Fernando, aka exjw Redditor, Warwick PIMO. And he writes, "Hello, dear friends. I hope you are all well. Yesterday, September 12th, 2024, the trial of my case took place. It was a hearing that concluded without giving me time to provide you with an update. All 3 defendants were questioned, and their statements contradicted each other. As a victim, I was invited to stay out of the trial and couldn't hear everything. However, tonight, the events will be covered by 3 major television stations in Mozambique. Journalists will narrate everything that happened, and a general article will be published later to provide context. The defendants refused to show their faces to the cameras or disclose their names, exercising a legal right that allows them to choose whether to reveal their faces to the media in case of this nature. They attempted several times to read biblical text in court, but the judge denied their request. They also tried to testify, but the judge interrupted them. We will see the rest in the news today. The public prosecutor, in their final arguments, preferred to acquit the defendants of the charge of unauthorized access, but believes there is sufficient evidence to convict them of the threat charge. We are now awaiting the judge sentencing on September 24th, 2024. That's all I have to share for now. See you soon." So that right there is big, is pretty exciting. And I love how Enough has time so that we can like go back to back to see what the next update is, because there's a third update that has been posted to Reddit and we're going to jump right into that. But my thoughts right here are just like really excited. Like my heart is pumping because I'm like, if it was me, I would have want to sit in on that. I want to see that. I want to watch that. So it kind of sucks that he didn't, witness this for himself. But I am so happy that the media is finally reporting on things that actually matter. And this is something that matters when a religious organization is threatening a member and making them seem like, well, that's a disgruntled member that, leaked information that he wasn't supposed to, as if they have some type of top secret information. Unless it's the pedophile list, that's what I really care about. But if it's not that, then they don't really have anything that's worth keeping, worth hiding. Like stop playing with me already. You know what I mean? All right, so the third update is on Reddit, and I will be posting all of the links. You already know the deal. Go to the description if you want to follow up. Entitled Mozambique, News About the Trial of Mauricio Fernando, aka Warwick PIMO, and this was posted on Reddit 3 days ago. And so right at the top, it says the article on how the trial went will be published soon on the Avoid JW website. While we wait, we can review the news broadcast from last night. For those who don't understand Portuguese, I've prepared a transcript of what was said in the news. So I'm going to play this clip and then I'll read the transcript.
Insólito no distrito de Masinga, em Inhambane, antigo membro da Igreja Testemunhas de Jeová, processa criminalmente a organização religiosa e pede indemnização de cerca de 2 milhões de meticais. A organização é acusada pelos crimes de acesso ilegítimo e ameaça.
A sessão de produção de provas decorreu esta quinta-feira no Tribunal Distrital de Macinga. 3 membros séniores das testemunhas de Jeová foram constituídos arguidos no processo comum por alegadamente orquestrarem a expulsão da organização do jovem Maurício Fernando, que estava afeto ao Departamento de Tradução. Fato ocorrido no ano passado, após o jovem ter publicado em redes sociais suposta informação que ia contra os princípios da religião e que comprometia as testemunhas de Jeová.
Pelos postos cometeram os arguidos José Adriano Paulo, Orlando Samuel Macaís e Adilson Domingos da Silva em coautoria material na forma consumada os seguintes tipos legais: ameaça, previsto disponível ao abrigo do número 1 do artigo 195, em concurso real de infrações com o tipo legal de crime de acesso ilegítimo, previsto disponível à luz do número 1 do artigo 256, ambos do Código Penal.
Dos 2 crimes arrolados na nota de acusação do Ministério Público, acesso ilegítimo e ameaça, os advogados de defesa esgrimiram argumentos em alegações finais.
É a questão da obediência ao Estado. As instituições religiosas têm que fazer os seus programas, fazer todas as suas atividades sabendo que estamos dentro do Estado e dentro desse Estado existem normas. E essas normas devem ser obedecidas. E aqui não foram obedecidas. Não pode haver um processo que tira de um direito constitucional de ter uma fé religiosa, estar num sítio, porque houve processos de indivíduos que fizeram. Porque aqui quando nós falamos de organização, meritíssimo juiz, mas organização são pessoas. Ele é também organização. Quando fez aquilo, era na tentativa de melhorar a tal organização. É pessoa. Eles também, quando fizeram o processo, são uma organização, mas são pessoas em concreto. Nós temos que pegar indivíduos separadamente e isso que nós fizemos. Tiramos a organização e atacamos as pessoas. No sentido de quê? De criarmos uma sociedade melhor.
O denunciante está a pedir 1.800.000 pela fé dele. Mas ele disse que só ia rezar, não ganhava nada. A fé do denunciante vale 1.800.000. Questionei. De 2 de setembro a 23 de janeiro de 2024, qual é o prejuízo que teve? O que aconteceu? O denunciante não esteve à altura de dizer nada.
O jovem antigo membro das Testemunhas de Jeová, desde a sua infância, esteve ligado à organização religiosa, até já tinha estatuto de ancião. O juiz do caso, Arsênio Nhanombe, marcou para o dia 24 de setembro corrente a leitura da sentença.
Okay, awesome. So now I'm going to read this transcript that has been written for us on Reddit. Okay. And it reads what the news anchor says. Unusual in the district of Masinga, in Nambane, a former Jehovah's Witness is filing a criminal lawsuit against a religious organization seeking compensation of approximately 2 million medicals. The organization is accused of the crimes of unauthorized access and threats. Narrator. The evidence production session took place this Thursday at the Masigna District Court. 3 senior Jehovah's Witnesses were made defendants in a common case for allegedly orchestrating the expulsion of young Mauricio Fernando from the organization, who was affiliated with the translation department. This occurred last year after the young man posted on social media supposed information that went against the principles of the religion and compromised the Jehovah's Witnesses. Public Prosecutor. The defendants Jose Adriano Paulo, Orlando Semende Magaisa, and Adilson Domingos da Silva commented the following types of legal crimes in material co-authorship in consummate form. The threat as foreseen and available under Article 195, Number 1, in real competition with the crime of unauthorized access as foreseen and available under Article 256, Number 1, both of the Penal Code. Narrator. Of the 2 crimes listed in the public prosecutor's indictment for threats, the defense lawyers presented arguments in their final statements. Mauricio Fernando's lawyer, It is a matter of state obedience. Religious institutions have to carry out their programs, perform all their activities, knowing that we are within a state. And within this state, there are norms. These norms must be obeyed. And here they were not obeyed. There cannot be a process that removes a constitutional right to have a religious faith to be in a place, because there were processes of individuals within the organization, but the organization is made up of people. It is also an organization. When he did that, it was in an attempt to improve the organization. It is a person. They too, when they carry out a process, are an organization, but they are concrete people. We have to address individuals separately, and that is what we did. We removed the organization and attacked the people in the sense of creating a better society. Jehovah's Witness lawyer, not actually a Jehovah's Witness, in parentheses, goes on to say, the complainant is asking for 1.8 million Medi-Cal for his faith, but he said he would only pray. He earned nothing. The complainant's faith is worth 1.8 million Medi-Cal. I questioned from September 2nd to January 23rd, 2024. What is the damage suffered? What happened? The complainant was not up to the task of saying anything. Narrator. The young former Jehovah's Witness, who has been associated with the religious organization since his childhood and had even attained the status of an elder, will have his sentence read by Judge Arsenio Hanombe on September 24th. So that was crazy. But crazy in a good way, because like I said before, this is really exciting. And I'm so happy that the Mozambique court is taking up this case, that he lawyered up. I think that the Jehovah's Witnesses are really in for a whirlwind of legal problems, because they threatened this man. They held him against his will. There were a lot of accusations that Warwick PIMO had alleged when the elders were interrogating him. And so they removed him from the congregation anyways. So he is most likely being shunned by his friends and his family, people in his community that he's known since childhood. Just like all of us ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. It doesn't matter where we are in the world. We are all going through the same thing, and it's because of the policies of Jehovah's Witnesses. And that's what we advocate to change. And so Mauricio's going through it in the legal sense, and we have just been going through it in just a normal sense. They want to normalize this, and it's wrong. And so the more we talk about it, the more, awareness is going to be on this issue about shunning, about disfellowshipping, about respecting other people's beliefs. Just because we are no longer Jehovah's Witnesses doesn't mean that you can push us around and bully us and, harass us or target us to try to come back into this cult. It's not even a religion. Like, let's stop saying that. You know what I mean? So anyways, Mauricio, I hope that everything goes well for you. It is a few days until the sentencing. So we will have, hopefully, we will have a good outcome when it comes to Mauricio Fernando's case. And I will be giving an update really soon, as this is updated either on Reddit or Twitter. Those are the fastest platforms that we can get news. So if you are on Reddit or if you are on Twitter, those are the best places to be when it comes to news and just, independent journalism, especially for us to connect and really, be together in this online community. Also, don't forget to join us on our Discord server. XJW Friends Discord server link will also be in the chat. As always, this is a server that the channel Fixing My Faith, Vern from Canada, has set up, and we are all there. I want to thank you guys for watching this video, and I will catch you soon with another update.